I canceled my sister's wedding and sent her a bill for $21,500 after she mocked me and refused to invite me. She yelled, "You're a cheap and selfish coward." I just canceled the $3,000 rental payment and took back the car I had given her. She screamed for help, and then our parents intervened. I guess if I'm honest, I should have seen it coming. Amanda had always been the type to take and take until there was nothing left, but when it came to her wedding, I thought maybe just maybe she'd be different. Family meant something, right? I was wrong. The second she got engaged, the circus started. Every call, every text, was about what she needed. She needed help with the deposit for the venue. She needed help with her rent because she couldn't focus on wedding planning and work at the same time. She needed a better car to impress her future in-laws. And each time, I said yes. Over the course of 8 months, I ended up paying $21,500 for her perfect little fantasy. Rent, car, a few emergency vendor bills that she swore she'd pay me back once she got her wedding presents. I didn't think twice. That's what you do for family. That's what I kept telling myself. I should have realized what was happening when she started leaving me out of things. No invitation to the engagement party. No mention when she went dress shopping. Then, 2 weeks before the wedding, she called me out of the blue. No small talk, no thanks, just a casual, "Hey, we're cutting the guest list a little bit. Nothing personal, but you don't have to come." I thought she was joking. I actually laughed until she said it again, this time slower, like I was stupid. I asked why and she said, "Really, Kev? You're a cheap, selfish coward. You always have been. I can't have that kind of energy at my wedding." Cheap. After $21,500. Selfish. After co-signing half her life. Cowardly. Because I didn't bend over backwards fast enough. I didn't say anything. Just hung up. I had to think. For the first time in my life, I allowed myself to really think about every time Amanda had humiliated me, used me, tossed me aside like I was nothing, and then expected me to smile about it. The night before her wedding, around 8 p.m., I sat down at my laptop and started pulling the strings. First, I canceled the $3,000 rent payment that was due the next morning. Without it, her landlord would demand the overdue balance by Monday. Then I logged on to the insurance portal and removed her car from my policy. Sent a quick message to the dealership, flagged it as a repossession since it was still legally in my name. Car gone. Finally, I drafted a clean, formal bill for $21,500 and emailed it to her. No long explanation. No drama. Just a simple note. "Since I'm too cheap to party with you." I figured she'd figure it out soon enough. It didn't even take an hour. My phone lit up so brightly it almost vibrated off the table. Amanda called. Then texted. Then called again. When I didn't answer, she showed up at my apartment, screaming my name from the sidewalk like she was under attack. Neighbors started sticking their heads out. Someone yelled at her to shut up. She just kept yelling. "You ruined my wedding! You owe me! Help!" That's when Mom and Dad got involved. And that's when things went from messy to full-blown war. The night after Amanda screamed outside my apartment like she was being attacked, I thought maybe, just maybe, she'd calm down. I underestimated how far she was willing to go. Around midnight the calls began. First it was Amanda. Then Mom. Then Dad. I didn't answer any of them. I just stared at my phone, which lit up every 2 minutes and vibrated so hard it almost fell off the table. They didn't leave voicemails. They didn't text explanations. Just one missed call after another, piling up like a threat. In the morning, they showed up in person. I heard them before I saw them. Amanda's screaming voice echoing down the hallway of my building, Mom crying, Dad barking orders like he was leading a battalion. I didn't even get a chance to speak when I opened the door. Dad pushed his way halfway in, screaming about how I had disgraced the family. Amanda was red-faced and sobbing, spewing words about how I had ruined her life, embarrassed her in front of everyone, and ruined the best days she would ever have. Mom tried the guilt trip. "Kevin, you're tearing this family apart. Please, just fix it before it's too late." Fix it? Like I was the one who screwed up. I told them directly, calmly, for once, that I wasn't going to fix anything. Amanda was getting exactly what she deserved. I reminded her of the rent, the car, the $21,500. I asked them point blank if helping her had ever been enough. No one had an answer. Dad tried another tactic. He said they would talk to Amanda, but I would have to reinstate the rent and return the car first, so as not to make a scene. That's when I laughed. Loudly, right in his face. For once, I wasn't the one being humiliated. I closed the door. Locked it. Closed the blinds. Sat down with a cup of coffee like it was any other Saturday. Amanda didn't give up. She took it to the next level. By noon, she had blasted me all over Facebook. A huge public post about how her jealous, selfish brother sabotaged her wedding out of spite, and left her homeless and stranded. She even included a photo of her standing in the parking lot next to her packed belongings, crocodile tears streaming down her face. I didn't even have to respond. I had receipts. I posted them every bank transfer, every Venmo payment, every single dime I had put into her dream wedding. I added a simple caption, "Facts feelings." It went viral in our small community. Friends from high school, old coworkers, even Amanda's bridesmaids started chiming in. Some people unfriended me. Many more unfriended her. But the real blow came when some of the vendors saw the drama online. It turned out that Amanda had promised many of them that family would cover everything. Now they weren't so sure. Several demanded payment in advance or canceled altogether. Amanda lost her hairdresser. Her caterer dropped out. One of the groomsmen backed out after his wife saw my posts and decided they weren't going to support scammers. By late afternoon, the wedding was still technically on, but it was bleeding fast. Dad called again. I didn't answer. Mom texted me and asked if we could, please, for the sake of the family, sit down and have a civil conversation. I texted back. When the $21,500 is in my account, we can talk. But Amanda wasn't done. When she realized she couldn't guilt me, couldn't shame me, couldn't publicly destroy me, she went for the nuclear option. She brought in the rest of the family. And that's when it all exploded. By Sunday morning, I realized that Amanda hadn't just thrown a temper tantrum. She had declared a full-blown family war. The first wave hit at dawn. I awoke to nearly 80 unread messages. Some were just angry one-liners. Shame on you, family is everything, you make me sick. Others were long, drawn-out paragraphs about loyalty and blood being thicker than water. People I hadn't spoken to in years, cousins who lived across the country, uncles who barely remembered my birthday were suddenly moralizing as if they knew something about what had happened. Amanda had spun a masterpiece. According to her, I had stolen her future. I had stolen her car to leave her stranded, and cut off her payments out of sheer cruelty. She painted herself as this helpless victim who just wanted one good day after years of sacrifice. There was no mention of the money I spent, the favors I did, the countless times I said yes when everyone else said no. The family bought it. Hook, line and sinker. It wasn't just the messages either. People started posting passive-aggressive quotes on Facebook. Family is supposed to lift each other up, not tear each other down. Some people show their true colors when you need them most. No one mentioned me directly, but it was obvious. They wanted me to see it. They wanted me to feel guilty. For about 5 minutes, I almost did. Then I remembered standing in Amanda's apartment months ago, handing her the keys to the car she wanted so badly, and hearing her say, "You're not as useless as I thought." Like it was a compliment. That memory snapped me right back into place. Instead of firing back, I did something worse. I stayed silent. No explanations. No arguments. Just screenshots. I gathered every bank statement, every wire transfer, every Venmo transaction with her name attached. Then I sent a clean, cold email to every family member who had contacted me. Facts are not negotiable. $21,500. Car title attached. Rent receipts attached. If you still believe Amanda, that's on you. No anger. No drama. Just proof. Then I turned off my phone and left it off for the rest of the day. The world outside my apartment was on fire. Amanda's wedding was falling apart faster than anyone could patch it up. First the hairdresser canceled. Then the photographer, who didn't want to deal with potential financial disputes. The DJ refused to show up without full cash payment. The caterers started asking for money up front. Amanda didn't have it. The wedding, which was supposed to be the event of the year, was moved to her fiancé's uncle's backyard. No flowers. No centerpieces. They strung up a few string lights and tossed folding chairs on the lawn. A few people still showed up, but half the bridal party bailed. Amanda ended up walking down a dirt path to a Bluetooth speaker that was playing the wedding march from a cell phone. From what I heard later, people were whispering about her the whole time. Not about how beautiful she was. About what a mess it all was. Meanwhile, I spent the day doing absolutely nothing. Eating leftover pizza. Watched stupid TV. Slept. That night they tried again. Mom sent a message first. No more pretending. Kevin, you've made your point. Please don't do this to your sister. It's gone too far. 10 minutes later, Dad wrote. Less polite. If you had any decency left, you'd fix what you broke. Neither mentioned the $21,500. Neither even offered to pay it back. In their minds, it was my duty to eat the loss, to save Amanda's reputation, to fix what she broke. I didn't respond. I didn't even open the messages all the way through. I just stared at them until the screen went dark. The next morning, I found an envelope slipped under my door. Inside was a single piece of paper. Amanda's handwriting. Sharp, angry. You are dead to me. I hope you live to regret this. No apology. No ownership. Just blame. I stared at it for a long time. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't even sad. All I felt was this heavy, cold clarity. They had made their choice. And now so had I. Amanda wasn't the only one getting cut off. But before I could really move on, there was one more round left in the fight. Dad wasn't finished. He thought he could twist the knife deeper. He had no idea how ready I was to burn the whole thing down. I thought after the wedding disaster, after the public humiliation, after Amanda's angry note, they would back off. I figured even they had to see that the damage was done. I underestimated how desperate Dad was to save face. 2 days after the wedding, my landlord called. She sounded confused, almost ashamed. She said that my father had contacted her and tried to negotiate a buyout of my lease so that I could move back home and work things out with the family. He was actually trying to bribe my landlord to evict me. I sat there and listened, stunned for a second. Not because I was hurt. I wasn't. I was impressed by how low they were willing to go. I thanked her for telling me and promised her I wasn't going anywhere. Then I hung up the phone and started laughing. I guess if yelling and guilt didn't work, eviction was the next logical step. The next day I received a certified letter. Official looking, legalese all over it. It wasn't from Amanda. It was from Dad. He threatened to sue me for emotional distress if I didn't publicly apologize to Amanda and withdraw the bill. He even included a draft of a Facebook post he wanted me to write admitting that I had lied about helping her financially and that I was deeply sorry for my actions. They really thought they had me cornered. What they didn't realize was that I had already collected my own insurance policy. Every receipt, every email, every text that Amanda had sent asking for money or thanking me after she got it, I had it all saved, time-stamped, backed up twice. I even had screenshots of her bragging to her friends about how Kevin foots most of the bill because he's too much of a sucker to say no. I made a phone call. Not to a lawyer. Not to anyone in the family. I called a friend of mine from college who worked for a local news station. I didn't give her the whole story, just enough to get her interested. A family money dispute that ruined a wedding. She was all over it. I emailed her everything, receipts, messages, the lawyer's letter. 2 days later, an article appeared online. When family weddings turn into family wars, a groom's sister speaks out. It didn't name names, but anyone who knew us, anyone who followed the Facebook drama would put 2 and 2 together. It painted a very different picture than the one Amanda had created. The article went viral locally. Not virally, but enough that Amanda couldn't hide behind her lies anymore. Suddenly, all the relatives who had been sending me hate texts went silent. Dad never called again. The idea of suing for emotional distress disappeared overnight. Amanda deleted half her posts and set her profiles to private. And just like that, the family war was over. But not with a treaty. With a wall. I didn't block her. I didn't send any last messages. I just stopped. Cold. No birthdays. No holidays. No weddings. No funerals. No apologies. No second chances. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't bitter. I was free. And it had only cost me $21,500. For a while after the article blew up, it was like the whole family went underground. No phone calls. No texts. No comments. Not even a birthday reminder. It was like I had been erased overnight. I thought I would feel angry. Or sad. Or guilty. Instead, I just felt a strange kind of peace. I hadn't realized how heavy it was to carry people who only showed up when they needed something. Now that weight was gone. I could breathe for the first time in my life. But peace never lasts when people like Amanda are involved. 3 weeks after the wedding, late on a Thursday night, someone knocked on my door. No yelling, no drama. Just a simple knock. I wasn't expecting anyone. My first thought was that it must be a mistake. Maybe a neighbor. I opened the door. It was my cousin Tyler. He looked different than the last time I'd seen him at a family barbecue, older, maybe tired. He was holding a 6-pack of beer like it was a white flag. Neither of us said anything at first. I just stepped aside and let him in. We sat on my beat-up couch and drank in silence. The old TV was playing reruns that no one was watching. Finally, Tyler spoke. "I just want you to know. I understand." I didn't answer. I just waited. He told me everything. How things had turned ugly quickly after the wedding. Amanda's husband, Brad, was apparently furious behind the scenes. Not about the wedding disaster, but about finding out that Amanda had lied to him, too. She told him that her generous brother had covered everything. She made it sound like her family was loaded and ready to take care of her for life. Brad's family, rich, conservative, reputation obsessed, had been watching closely. When they found out the truth, when they saw the article and the receipts, it was over. Within a week of the wedding, Brad had moved back in with his parents, temporarily to think things over. Amanda was left in their tiny apartment with nothing but unpaid bills and a bunch of wedding gifts that nobody wanted anymore. But it didn't stop there. Dad's reputation took a hit, too. Clients began to pull away. Old friends stopped returning his phone calls. In a town where respect and family man were everything, trying to legally threaten your own son didn't go unnoticed. Deals he had been working on for months dried up overnight. His name wasn't welcome in places where it used to be automatic. And Mom, the master of pretending everything was perfect, had started telling friends they were taking some time for family healing, which everyone knew was code for "we're falling apart." Tyler told me that cousins and aunts were quietly choosing sides now, and not many were choosing Amanda's. I sat there listening, sipping my beer, feeling nothing. No victory. No triumph. Just this quiet confirmation that cutting her off had been the right move. Tyler finished his drink and got up. Before he left, he looked at me and said, "You're better off without her. We all are." Then he was gone. The door clicked shut behind him and the silence returned. I looked around my small apartment. Faded carpet. Scuffed walls. Old, hand-me-down furniture. But no one was yelling at me. No one was lying. No one asked for more than I had to give. It was mine. It was ugly, small, beat up, and it was free. Weeks passed. The seasons began to change. Leaves turned and fell. Holidays came and went without a single message from anyone in the family. My phone stayed silent. My heart remained light. For the first time, I was building a life that didn't revolve around people who only cared about me when they needed something. I thought the chapter was closed. I thought the book was finished. I was wrong. Because one cold January morning, long after I had stopped expecting anything, a message popped up in my inbox. Not from Amanda. Not from Dad. From someone I never thought I'd hear from again. And they weren't writing to apologize. I hadn't thought about Amanda, Brad, or the rest of them in weeks. Life had finally gone quiet, the kind of quiet that comes after a storm has leveled everything. So when I saw the email one morning, I almost ignored it. The subject line was vague. "We need to talk." No name. No company. No hint. Out of habit, I opened it. It wasn't Amanda. It wasn't Dad. It was Brad. Short, clipped words, as if he didn't want to write more than necessary. "Amanda told me that you owe her money. She says some of it was mine, too. I expect an answer. If not, we'll take it to court." I sat back in my chair and stared at the screen. There it was again. That old family tactic. Threat first. Truth later. They had learned nothing. I didn't respond right away. I let the email sit there for 2 days. Let him sweat. Let him wonder. Then, when I was ready, I replied, "Everything is documented. Amanda has the records. I suggest you review them before you make false claims." I attached a small zip file. Inside were PDFs of every payment, every signed note, every message in which Amanda acknowledged that the money was a loan. Black and white. Unbreakable. I didn't say anything else. Less than an hour after I hit send, Brad blocked me. 2 weeks later, I heard from an old friend who was still talking to people back home. Brad had filed for divorce. Amanda hadn't even lasted 4 months. Apparently, when the money dried up and the sympathy ran out, so did Brad's patience. He moved back in with his parents. Amanda moved into Mom and Dad's condo, the same condo they had to buy after selling the house at a loss. The golden family everyone admired was gone. Wiped off the map as if they had never existed. And me? Staying in my same beat-up condo. No car payments. No surprise bills. No screaming phone calls in the middle of the night. I worked. I slept. I lived. It wasn't glamorous. It wasn't Instagram-worthy. It was just mine. And for the first time, it was enough. One afternoon, maybe 6 months after it all happened, I was walking back from the grocery store, arms full of cheap takeout and a bottle of gas station wine, when my phone buzzed. An unknown number. No name. Normally, I would have let it go to voicemail. But for some reason, I answered it. "Kevin?" It was Tyler. My cousin. The last one to stand by me when everything fell apart. He sounded different. Calmer. He asked if I wanted to have dinner sometime. To catch up. I thought for a second. About the quiet life I had built for myself. About how safe it felt, now that I wasn't carrying the weight of people who never deserved it. Then I thought about Tyler. The one person who knocked on my door, sat on my couch, and told me the truth when it would have been easier to keep quiet. "Yeah," I said. "Let's do it." We met a week later at a dusty bar on the edge of town. Cheap wings. Bad lighting. Terrible music. It was perfect. We didn't talk about Amanda. Or Dad. Or any of it. We just sat there like normal people. Two guys who had been through something and come out the better for it. Somewhere between the second beer and the third round of wings, Tyler grinned and said, "You know, you're the lucky one." I raised an eyebrow. "You got out?" he said. "Not many of us do." He wasn't wrong. The $21,500? Gone forever. The family ties? Cleanly severed. The future I thought I was building with them? Dead. But in its place was something better. Freedom. Real freedom. The kind you don't buy with a check or a favor or a hollow apology. The kind you earn by surviving. I left that bar that night with nothing but a half-empty wallet and a full heart. For the first time in my life, I wasn't looking over my shoulder. I wasn't waiting for the next favor. The next crisis. The next betrayal. I was just free. And I realized something as I walked under the broken streetlights to my car. Peace isn't free. It costs as much as your dignity, your patience, and sometimes $21,500. But when you finally pay it, it's worth every damn penny.